ki khubor ka bate si TV. Lawan Rashaphi da ka Frank Motors. Booking open for the new Nexon. Visit Frank Motors or call 7045207973.
MIT University of Meghalaya. Our admissions are now open for the academic year 2024-25. Explore our best courses. Experience global collaborations. Apply today.
Ka BDWS Career Academy kan penlong ya Meghalaya Scholastic Aptitude Test haka khatan real tergubanai March haka porshi phobajem step hashulong tura but clear.
Dagajing tmu berwan ralang hakaju karan san hiki kertong ke bania khun hakini election MP naka Shillong seat ke Sankardev College kala penlong ke Symposium halo ke phang Parliamentary Politics and Political Participation. Yakani ke Symposium la penlong naka Trat Political Science bar ke IQAC jong ke Sankardev College hak bagi samla pule nagi college pe lawan banya shimbenta hakini ke Symposium. Hagari ke sengi ke kertong juga National People Party ke Dr. Mizil Ampareen Lingdo, kamshim Wanmih Satya berkum juru UMP uba Vincent H. Palaru, Khlem hendai lawan Wanmih Bujli duba Manuel Batwar, batna BJP nomor ba omshim 48 bena kertong lawan Wanmih Khmat duba M. Kharkrang ubri unong ai ketien ke parti. Ki kertong ke Poisha ke Symposium ki kenthop yu kertong ke Regional Democratic Party uba Robert Jun Kharjarin, u kertong ke Voice of the People Party uba Ricky AJ Singkon, baru bak lakon kema ukertong shimed. Hakini ke Symposium ai portang marship hominid ya baru bakin penpau ya kenong rim baki yeng hakini ke election baru moderator jong kini ke Symposium udah Dr. S. Maxwell Lingdo.
I'm an independent candidate and this decision I took very, very consciously. Simply because, because this statement is so I'm not going to the detail of what I'm going to do if you choose me as your MP whenever the election is held. However, it was my conscious decision to stand as an independent candidate because, yes, with due respect to the views and ideologies which is upheld by the candidates and their representatives representing various parties, I have a slightly different view on a lot of things, and somehow I don't, with due respect, I don't subscribe to any of those ideologies per se. With due regards, of course, they will substantiate why they stand for their own ideology. Well, I will put up two parts that what an MP is supposed to do. First thing first, almost I would say, 2/3 or more. A job of an MP is outside the state. And that's where it is important for all of you to see your candidate because, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter from which party a candidate stands. Simply because these 7 districts that we have stands only one MP to the Lok Sabha. It really doesn't matter, especially if you are from a bigger party and you don't speak at all in the parliament, which we have seen with due respect to my current MP, who is also a good friend. If you don't speak, you are as good as being an independent. And then, of course, any of us from any parties who are here, if you elect us, I think we are independent. More so, it is important because I'm already independent here. I don't stand alone. I stand alone, and you must have seen my video in my YouTube channel at the rate Lakon Kama. I have been speaking because you need to listen to me. I am the candidate. I am the one you are sending crossing the border of Meghalaya. Once I'm outside Meghalaya, I'm alone. And that's what I said. When I decided to stand as an independent candidate, it was my conscious decision that I need to stand here. If I'm not independent here in my own state, in my own comfort zone, leave aside when I cross the border of Meghalaya, I will be able to stand alone. And inside the parliament, and that's where it is the most important part of the game, inside the parliament alone, one MP from this 7 districts will be standing to echo the voice of the people of these 7 districts. Yes, governments is equally important, but they have their own MP to address their issue inside the parliament. But for these 7 districts, you have only one guy. Why not send the best person because he or she will be independent anyway, irrespective of from which party they belong, and that's why. And that's very interesting simply because it is nothing unique. So far we have been sending 16 MPs, out of which 6 times it was independent MP. First, second and third MP from Meghalaya was an independent candidate. The second one, of course, in the year 1957 and 62, who were in Utah, he was independent. He defeated Congress and regional parties. In 67 and 72, Professor G.G. Swell was independent candidate, defeating the Congress and the regional party. He again came back 4 times. 84, after 67, 72, 84, and 96, he won as an independent candidate. This is important. Why I have to stress, because I do see in social media, people asking me that, all sort of query, as if some candidates are dependent on my standing as a candidate to win or lose the election, which is totally absurd. Because I think we have to give due regard to all the candidates, because each one is trying his or her best to win your votes through their vision that we have. My vision that I have is 15, 20 years down the line, when we grow, because this is important for all the youngsters here who are looking for a job. There is no job in the state. I'm worried because I have a young daughter who have just finished her class 10 and she'll be doing class, and one is finishing tomorrow class 12, and I have a son who is class 9. Now we don't have jobs who are passing out from our colleges in the state of Meghalaya. The one who's passing out from master degree from the university, getting their PhD scholars who has got their PhD degree and not gainfully employed. I'm worried. If I was not worried, I would not get into this fray. The whole idea why I give is, I have almost lost all my faith in the system, but I still have little bit, maybe 5%, 10% that we may be able to revive. We have to revive, because this state, if you don't wake up now, and that's what I said, this is the time when we decided we are going to build a new Meghalaya. I am not here only to fight MP election. This is just a starting point, and I have said this again and again. My winning and losing really has no consequence vis-a-vis my standing for the cause that I'm looking for, that down the line, 15, 20 years, all of us, our villages, all of us are gainfully employed. We have the best of the infrastructure, and that's where it's important. And for in current times, of course, one other aspect that is worrying me is, I look around this current dispensation at the center and also in the state, there seems to be least bother for smaller groups of people living in the hill state. There seems to be imposing all sort of things, and I feel that when they come back again to power in this 2024 election, I don't know what kind of change they're going to bring. And this is where you need to send somebody who can stand in front of Prime Minister, Home Minister, Finance Minister and say that don't play around with our Constitution. Because as long as you respect the Constitution, we are one nation. The day you try to trigger around the Constitution, the whole fundamental structure of the Constitution, because I do see that secularism is at stake. Secularism is at stake in the current dispensation. I see, because as a faculty of the university, I see what kind of people are being sent to the university. It's the same mindset that is going to sit in everywhere, and I'm concerned, deeply concerned, that you need to send somebody who can stand in the floor of Parliament alone and tell this current dispensation, please don't play around with the Constitution of India, because this Constitution binds us as one country. The day you tinker around and play around with the Constitution, I'm telling you, this country is going to break into pieces. And that's why they were ever dare to touch the secular fabric of, because we have seen months and months has gone by. Since 2014, I do see that a particular dispensation, a particular ideology is being propagated to an extent that I'm really fed up to hear. And that's where I think it is important that we make sure that when we reach Parliament, and if you choose me as a candidate, as your MP, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not there to, if I was looking for comfort thing, I don't have to be in the Parliament. I'm much more comfortable in you. The point that I have chosen to stand was because I don't see any ray of hope that somebody can raise our voice, because we have seen people are all compromising their own ways, whether in the state or in the center. You need a voice in the Parliament to say that this is what is the voice of the people of Meghalaya. This is the voice of the 7th district that we have. That we will express our concern. I don't understand why we are still backward to the highest order. We will be second or third from the last in any index of development. What is the reason? Such a tiny state. You start from Guwahati, go to Delhi, maybe 3.5 hours, you will complete the breadth. Go from Jaita Hills to, say, western side of our state, maybe 5-6 hours. A state like UP, where 2 days you have to travel by train only to cross this border, they are much more developed. Simply because I have already adopted a zero tolerance policy on corruption and corrupt practices, simply because I believe that if we don't practice clean politics, and I'm not here, I've always said this, I'm a teacher first. What I say is record here and you'll be recording it. I stand here and whatever I'm saying, I stand by it, and you will see that my wife is also present here and she's, of course, all the time in my campaign, not just to add beauty to my campaign, but it's also important that she listens to what I say. Tomorrow if I become rogue, you elect me and I become rogue, you can make her accountable because she is witness to whatever promise I have made. And I stand here with a firm commitment that I am not here to earn money. I have done enough for myself. Time has come that I give back to the state. And I believe that if you elect me as a MP, I will be the one raising your concern that why we are backward, why there is so much of corruption, why there is no development in the last 52 years, how long we will wait? And this is the question I ask myself. If it was possible for me to wait, I would have waited 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. We are already late vis-a-vis the development front is concerned. And hence, it is important that right now I can't even wait for a day to stand and make my voice clear to everyone that I'm here to bring a ray of hope. Not because I am somebody who has been exposed to all sorts of things. I've done my schooling entirely outside the state. From Arunachal Pradesh, right from class KG to class 12. I stayed in US almost for 18 months. I have visited Rome, I have visited Frankfurt, Zurich, and so on and so forth. I have seen how development is brought. You stay in US, you don't know from where, I think Ambassador will agree with me, you don't know from where gas is coming. You don't know from water is coming. You don't know where your water is going in the drain. Drain is not visible to you. I stayed in medical college, in India, medical college of Wisconsin, which is 2 hours drive from Chicago.
Dr. Papu,
So, I will just stop. So, there, 8 months, there is snowfall. Not a single day light went off. This is one. We are 100 years behind as a country. We as Meghalaya are 200 years behind the US. And to change this narrative, I have come into frame. I will look forward to your support. And I need your support not because I want to become an MP. I think my salary is probably better than an MP salary as a professor of university. It has to be made very clear. I'm not here to earn a living. I'm here to contribute. And my friend, I stand here as a candidate who will raise the concern. And I'm not afraid. I have lived with people from outside this state all my life. I know what the psyche is. I know how to tackle people in Delhi. I know how to raise my voice. Because come what may, I don't ban. I may die fighting a cause. I will not ban. Thank you very much.
As a citizen of this great nation, I would simply go and exercise my right as a citizen to vote on the day of the election, vote for a person or vote for a political party. But then I believe that in life, there is always the push and the pull factors in life. And the condition of the state of ours, I've lived my life, this, 52 years along with the States, just 15 days entered to the States. So I've seen how our state has grown or not grown over the years. The condition of the state of ours has been one of the reasons that has pushed me to come into electoral politics. And there is a pull factor which I'm glad that in our state we have a leader, our President, Wanmih, whom we've been friends for quite a long time, and I've seen in this person who really understands the need of the hour. That is the politics that we're talking today, that our party has been professing, and he has been professing right from 2010 about the need for clean politics. And it is this that has also been the reason to pull me to this ideology. The second part, what do we have as a state? When we look at our states, I believe you all agree with me that our state is endowed with, with vast and rich resources. We talk about natural resources, talk about mineral resources, you talk about water resources, and you talk about the human resources. Indeed, there is none like our state, I would say. after traveling, after seeing different places within India and a few countries outside of India, I would say that God has really indeed blessed our state. But then, where are we after 50 years, 52 years? When we look at the reports that have been coming from different agencies, which speaks about the condition of our state, it's really, really sad and very depressing, looking at the condition of our state. We are the poorest state. We talk about education, where we were so proud of, our state, especially Shillong, which was once upon a time the capital capital of this part of India. But where are we now? We are at the bottom. Talk about governance, we are right down the bottom. Talk about health care, health services, we are also at the bottom. Talking about cleanliness, we are so proud that our society, we talk about cleanliness, where we only do it once, maybe in a year, and the same person who cleans the same person would be the reason for the dirt and the filth that is around us. And when we look at food security, 81% of our people, they are in the primary sector. But sad to say, the report says that we are second from the bottom when it comes to food security. This is as per the National Food Security Act. Furthermore, when we talk about our society, it's really sad. 41% of a household in this state, they are female-headed household, and 42% of our population live in those households. And you can imagine the condition of those kind of households where the woman has to take the responsibility of managing the entire household. Indeed, and no wonder we are a state where the poverty is really sad, education is so poor, dropout rate is always on the rise. So these are the picture of our state after 52 years. But as a party, we do have few solutions to offer. Talking about human capital, which we have such a vast potential of human resource. The report says that around 65% of the population in our state, they are the youth. So we cannot handle this rich and resource. We are not able to move this resource, to channelize this resource. Our future is really at stake, because this resource can make or break the future of our state. So as a party, we are really concerned with the youth of our state, and that is why we would like to take up issues. We would like to engage with the government to ensure that the central education institutions, they also cater to the needs of our people in terms of, for example, seats for learning, employment, and even the courses of study. And when we look also at what is happening around the world, especially when we look at what is going on, especially in the eastern part of the world, Southeast Asia, East Asia, you will find this part of the world is going through a difficult time in the days to come. Why I'm saying this is because there is this, the working population is, on the decline, and therefore we see as a party that there is a scope for our youth. We can always export human resource, but to do so, we say as a party that we should prepare our youth, with some of the soft skills. We know that as a society, we are known for our hospitality, and together with the soft skills that we can provide through the various institutions that we have in our state, both the central, the state, some private institutions, I'm sure we can prepare our youth to move out of the nation. That is what we see. And talking about health, we seriously need to improve the Human Development Index in our state, which is really pathetic. And in the light of this, what we see as a party is that we know that the traditional health practices is one where we can really also look to. Why? Because it has been known, looking at some of the statistics, around 170 countries in the world have also looked at the traditional medical practices or the traditional medical knowledge as an alternative. And in our state, we do have many, such practitioners all over the state. And we believe that when we also talk about sustainable development, we believe that if we promote these people, we can also ensure protection of our forests. That is where they get all the requirements for different kinds of, to treat different kind of ailment. So that is on the health. Then we also see that as a party we've seen, the reason why our state is really going down. And we see that, the work culture and work ethics is an issue which we seriously need to think. We cannot talk of productivity, we cannot talk of, rising up, climbing up the ladder, if we continue with the present work culture, work ethics. So this is where we would want, we would like to take the lead in this and to share to people and to encourage people, encourage the youth, encourage each one of us, and to also let the people know about the dignity of labor, where it is very important. Doesn't matter which job you're holding, but we believe as a party that what is important is whatever job, no matter, to respect the job, to do it with all sincerity, hard work, and with dedication. And this is another issue which we see that we can take the state forward. And our state, which is where tourism has so much of potential. But what we also see is that along with tourism, it is important for to develop for example, the Shillong Airport. For 40 years, we see this airport, by now actually it should have been an international airport. This is what we would like to see. That this is really serious. There is no state, no country which talks about tourism, but then
Dr. Ricky,
yeah. So, and then, well, there are many, but just before I take my seat, I got here, in this bag, something which, as a party, we would really love to see. With so much of potential that we have, we, as a party, we would like to see innovation in our state. There is so much that we can do. This is a box, Meghalaya in a box, where we have all the products that, from the states. You talk about ginger, you talk about cinnamon, you talk about black pepper, and so on and so forth. These, if processed and packed neatly and presented to the world, I'm sure this will really boost the agricultural sector and also boost the rural economy, and can also take care of the unemployment that we're talking about. Employment is there, opportunities is there. This is that we need to see. And so as a party, this is what we present to you. And finally, our party has a vision, and that vision is to revive, to restore and transform Meghalaya through principle of clean politics. Thank you all.
Not just in India alone, but the world over, fanaticism is taking shape and things is moving towards that. And it's extremely important, especially when you live in a secular country like ours, where atrocities can be created very easily, especially when it's a republic, which is guided by the rule of the land rather than the democratic process as such. And for especially political science students, you will understand that very much. It is important because the hatred is being propagated. It is important because in today's world, we point fingers whether you're a Muslim or you're a Hindu. We point fingers whether you're a Meitei or you're a Kuki. We've started pointing fingers whether you're a Khasi or a Garo. And that movement is trickling down to each and every part of our society, which is extremely bad. And I believe that it is very, very critical for us to come to an understanding that these kind of divisive powers has to be stopped. If you listen to what Professor Kumar had mentioned earlier, that even in Nehu, there have been efforts made to bring that divisive thing. There's another department which is Science and Technology Center. They're trying to ensure that people come to work on a Sunday as well, without respecting certain parts of certain things of what we inculcate as a society. Anyway, but that keeping aside, I'd like to express to you what the Congress wants to talk about, at least in this election that is coming this time. What is important is that we should understand that India has already reached a $3 trillion economy and is definitely poised to become the second largest in another 5 to 10 years. See, the growth trajectory of any economy is simple. As long as you have a large market, which is the biggest, of course, in this country, you have a productive workforce, and you have certain policies that will direct towards that, the economy will grow. And it's like a snowball effect. Once the economy grows, it keeps on growing. You don't have to worry much about it. But the trajectory in which it is growing is most important. After 10, 15 years of liberalization, or 20 years of liberalization, you will notice that each economy that liberalizes itself starts growing at a trajectory which is far, far stronger. China took only 15 years to reach 8 trillion, 9 trillion. So India itself is growing. What I'm trying to pinpoint here is that at the end of the day, each and every Indian will become better off than he was 10 years back. Now, the point is, how do we ensure that whatever growth is happening in the country reaches to the grassroots level, the bottom of the pyramid, so-called? What I fear most is that the bottom of the pyramid is not benefiting from the economic growth. Do you know that in the global hunger index, India is ranked 111 as of today? And it's not improving. It is not improving because of various things. Because of the fact that economic development has not reached that level. So economic development, the way I see it, at least as far as the government is concerned, the current government is concerned, is that it is not reaching out to the people that need it. It reaches out only to the top echelons of our society. And that is important for us to understand. So what I'm saying is that Congress has come with these 5 promises. And these are important promises. It's not made by me or made by the Congress party alone. We had these meetings across the country. In fact, even in Shillong, we had a meeting with some concerned citizens who had participated along and come. It was a heated meeting, there's no denying about that, but at least the points that came out were strong. And believe it or not, I'll tell you that a few points were taken even from there. I'll give you one example, especially which is relevant, and this is a promise in which the Congress is making this time, saying that the economic development is happening, but at the same time, it should benefit. You know, I'll tell you that in Meghalaya itself, most of the students, especially when you graduate from your college, when you start searching for jobs, you will be underpaid. Believe it or not, I'm telling you this. Most of the corporations and the business houses would like to pay you peanuts and treat you like monkeys. I'm sorry to use that unparliamentary language. The point is, why? We are trying to tell you that when you graduate, for the first year itself, you will enact a law to ensure that at least for the first year as an apprentice, you will be paid 8,500 rupees per month. What happens is that each and every employer will be mandated to pay. So it will help each and every graduate to at least get a safe salary within the first year of working itself. So that by the time you approach your second year, you will not be underpaid. And that is very, very critical. I'm telling you, as students, when you start joining the workforce, you will understand the value of what this is. And this is important because I think it's not just our political party, but many parties should start looking at this, especially for a state like ours, which is so critical. And people are underpaid. That is one of the promises in which the Congress is saying. And believe it or not, this just didn't come out of thin air. This came out because we had discussions with a lot of people. We had discussions with Nehru Students' Union. We had discussions with students all over the place. And for which we came to an understanding that yes, this is important. The second, especially the JIG workers, the so-called unorganized sector. When you, again, especially young students, when you go to the corporate or you start working in the real life, you'll understand what is the difference between an organized and an unorganized sector. An unorganized sector is a sector in which there's no regulation, where people can hire you at whatever rate they want to, and people can fire you anytime they want to, which is highly prevalent in this part of this country. You will notice even Negroes nowadays don't want to recruit people anymore. They want to go through an agency. The agency is because under his name, they will recruit you. The agency is taking full credit that I have given job, but at the end of the day, it's Negroes who's given job. But it's going through the unorganized sector where Negroes does not have to treat you like an organized sector individual. So they can hire and fire you anytime. We want to stop that. And I think it's very critical for us to stop that. I think that is one of the other promises in which the Congress Party is trying to make this time. The other thing is, especially daily wage laborers, highly critical. Our economy is run only on daily wage laborers, especially in Shillong and Meghalaya. Do you know what we think? That there should be a social security system in place, a very robust one at that, to ensure that such people are not left in the lurch when difficulty comes in their houses. They should be given some insurance, and that also a very good insurance plan. It could be health insurance, it could be life insurance, at least a coverage of nothing less than 10 lakhs. It has started, and there's a pilot being done right now in a state called Telangana. And believe it or not, I believe that such an insurance plan, especially for the JIG workers or the daily wage laborers, is highly critical. The other promises in which the party is making is saying that secure employment is also extremely important, especially the contractualization of work when it comes to government jobs. You see, we are a state in which there are 37, 38 lakhs population. But if you look at the government jobs, the count of government jobs here, hardly 1.5. You look at Sikkim. Sikkim is a 98 lakhs population, but the count of government jobs is in excess of 2 lakhs. So the percentage of government jobs that are available, if the state mechanism would have functioned much better than it is, rather than all the loot that is happening, there is an ample opportunity to create even better jobs in the government. And effective jobs, I might say. So that is another thing I think, at least from the Congress perspective, we are looking at it in a very, very serious way and have given it one of the promises. The fifth promise that I'd like to talk about is also what we call as this, the plan, especially for entrepreneurs. So we have entrepreneurs at every level. What we've been seeing, and as I said earlier, that the Indian economy is only growing, but growing only to the top echelons. We want to change that. We want to change that economic development to go to the lower section. And for which the corpus of funds in which we have already seen that it's being done by the various governments, but we'd like to reach out even more. More towards the rural belt, more towards the people who actually need, and not just the fluff which is on top. We will not obviously just run schemes on wine making, which we obviously know that wine making is being made by only the privileged part of the society, but we'll do other things which is more important. Maybe we'll be able to reach out. And these are the only 5 promises. Maybe we'll discuss a little bit more, and thank you very much for that.
I would like to express my alliance promises based on 3 principles. Our principle will stand to protect the interests of the indigenous people and the residents of the state. We stood to preserve and conserve the identity, the cultures in the state, and thirdly, to promote the welfare of the state for the benefit of the people watching online. I would like to express this in few words in Khasi. Ini nampak penyada, yang kami bawa berjalan dulu pada jalan. Ia yang benar pensa, ia dari 3 dustur, pada senap ke gerbang jom berjalan, pada kunjuk lu berkentiu, ia berjalan lagi yang baru. My dear friends, I always believe that leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. How we as RDA vision to translate this 3 pillars, the triple P, to protect, to preserve and to promote into reality is fast and all. We need to protect ourselves, and that's why we would like to guarantee you that if we choose RDA, we will ensure to impress upon the government to firstly implement enlightenment in the state of India. We will ensure protection of secularism in the rest of India. We stood for secularism, and we stood that the right to worship is a fundamental right of each and every individual, and that will remain in India. We will not allow anybody to try to infringe into this right, and we will give our best to ensure that the people in India have the secular concept to worship in whichever God they like, in whichever manner they like, and in whichever day they want to worship their own Almighty. We will also pursue with the government of India to speedily inclusion of Khasi language into the age schedule, settlement of boundary dispute between Meghalaya and Assam, and also to review the settlement already settled in the first phase, and also to once again review the settlement of boundary between India and Bangladesh is also our guarantee to the protection of our own cultures, of our own right and privilege. My dear friends, we also have a promise to preserve and conserve the identity and the cultures that we as the indigenous people and the residents of the state are very much valued. How do we do it? We make sure that we strengthen the schedule. We disagree with the individual and party views that they want to do it away with the schedule. As the people, we strongly believe that we need to strengthen the schedule. We strongly believe that if we strengthen the schedule, especially by review Para-12 AA, and also to ensure that the council have similar legislative powers in in the light of Article 200 of the Constitution of India is our grantee. We will also ensure that direct funding into the local authority like the Northwestern and all will be addressed. If you elected us elected us as MP in this election. My dear friends, I don't know how much time will I have left, but the other issue that we would like to see, that how do we promote our own state? We would like to see an inclusive development. And since we have this meeting in the college, I would like to tell you what is our vision when it comes to employment. Unemployment and underemployment are issues which is very critical in the state of Meghalaya. We would like to promise you that in order to bring employment in public sector, there is an OM, Office Memorandum, which guarantees that 44% of the ST in central government institutions in Group D and C need to be implemented in letter and spirit. It is very sad to see even after this OM is already been issued, the central government institute has not respected this OM. We will ensure that this OM is implemented in letter and spirit. We do feel that in order to bring employment to the state, introduction of special scheme like soft loan, grant, subsidy, interest-free loan, to start up, to guide, to help the youth to start up their business is very important. Setting up of a special economic zone with special preference to the indigenous people is very important. Because I saw so many youth, they do have talent, they do have a skill, they completed the degree, but they don't have much of capital to invest. Having a special economic zone is very important to allow our youth and to help our youth in starting of the business, and this will go a long way toward providing jobs and employment into our state. And we will also need to see that in contractual jobs, especially in Group C and D, there is a need for 100% reservation to the local people of the state. This will also help us in others to ensure that the people get employment. The other vision that we have is to make sure that the farmers and the laborers get the dignified life. The farmers, they have spent the entire day ensuring that the country get the food to eat. What did we do at the end of the day? We are very happy to buy it at a lesser price. The absence of minimum support price to agricultural products and also to minor forest product has put our problem in a difficulty. You see in this few days, the broomstick, the price of broomstick is very less, the price of butternut also is very less, the price of gingers also is very less. I do feel that with market intervention scheme and with minimum support price, this will help our farmer to get a meaningful and a just price to what they have already spent their energy in ensuring that we have the food to eat. Soft loan and interest-free loan to farmers is very important, because without this, the farmers will not be able to increase their agricultural activity. So we feel that this is very important. Setting up of an agro-based industry in the state will go a long way toward ensuring that our people and our farmers get a meaningful right to live. Healthcare is very important in our state. I used to say that most of the people of our state has to spend a lot of money. In other states, there is a drain of wealth from our state because we have to go for so many healthcare to Assam and to other states. If we could have a proper healthcare, if we could open up the branch of Khlem, maybe in other part of the district, this will go a long way toward toward helping our people, especially the poor. I do feel that India needs to have a drug-free policy. The poor find very difficult even to get medicine. If we have a drug-free policy where medicine will be given for free for certain diseases, I do feel this will go a long way to ensuring that the people have that meaningful right to health. Right to health has been declared by the Supreme Court as a fundamental right. But this right till date does not get the proper enforceable. I do feel that free drug policy, especially to BPL and underprivileged people, will go a long way in ensuring that the people have a good health care. My dear friends, we also guarantee to review and relook and revisit the impact of Central Land Law and Central Forest Act into our state. The land law, especially the MMDR Act, is not compatible to the land tenure system that we have. That's why we find it very difficult in getting license in mining list. I don't believe in one regulated mining, but we believe that the law that we have must be in accordance with the land tenure system that we have. We have a different land tenure system comparable to the rest of India. If this is not respected, I do feel that our right on our land and resources is not respected. The Honorable Supreme Court has already declared that the minerals and the land belong to the individual and the clan and the community in the state of Meghalaya. So I do feel that we need to review and revisit how the MMDR Act, which clearly says that you need to lease your own mineral, your own land from the government who's not the owner of the land. This is something that we will try to relook and revisit. The fact that the President of India has not given an assent to the demand of the Meghalaya Legislative Assembly to exempt MMDR Act is something that we would like to pursue in this election. And if elected, we would like to have a proper discussion with the government of India to ensure that our land right is respected at the earliest. Last but not the least, my dear friends, we have a bigger problem. Each and every family in our society now has the biggest problem, and that biggest problem is how we challenging the rampant selling of illegal drugs into the state of Meghalaya. If we look into this issue, let me finish with this 2 point. If we look on this issue, we know that most of the drugs, especially cocaine and heroin, has been transported from outside the state into our state. So we feel that we need to strengthen an anti-narcotic cell, especially to ensure that this drug came from outside need to be stopped at all costs. Drug is a global problem. We would like to ensure that the external affairs of the government of India has to impose sanctions on those countries who used to produce illegal drugs. And I do feel that if we can do this, we will see a much better future in our state. Thank you so much.
Greetings from the Bharatiya Janata Party to all of you. But I think Khlem Khamtam is principal of Sankardev College, but the faculty members as soon as I got into over 2014, we recognized the urgent need to revamp and overhaul the system and processes to help India advance on the path of development. Right from spearheading the digital revolution to elimination of open defecation, India has achieved remarkable milestones under a new governance paradigm. We have addressed the inherited legacy of inefficiencies through simplification and rationalization of laws. Adopting a trust-based and responsive delivery machinery ease of doing business, reforms to unleash the potential of every sector. Contrary to the piecemeal delivery in the past, we have achieved saturation coverage of all deserving beneficiaries. We shifted the welfare focus from entitlement-based support to empowering individuals by integrating them into the formal sector. The initiation of the reform process started yielding positive results in the early years of the government by improving the investor climate and creating a favorable outlook for the economy. The industrialists who earlier shied or preferred to invest in foreign countries were enticed to come back and invest in his own country. And especially, the best part was that foreign direct investment increased in our country. Both domestic and foreign investors exhibit high optimism regarding India's growth potential, anticipating abundant opportunities as the economy expands. The Indian economy has gone through structural reforms that have strengthened the micro fundamentals of the economy. These resulted in India changing from the fragile 5 to the top 5 in just about a decade. As the economy was transformed into a more resilient avatar amidst a challenging global environment. The rise of the Indian economy in the last 10 years was unprecedented in spite of the obstacles of external origin, example the pandemic, and the geopolitical disturbances. This has been manifested in the trajectory of the GDP, when in 2014, India was the 10th largest economy, and today, India is the 5th largest economy, and by the IMF projections, it is expected to be the 3rd largest economy another 2 to 3 years from now. Our government of the nation first was transform the quality of India's infrastructure and logistics ecosystem, which will be the key to investment and expand its presence in global value chains. When our government, just to give an example, when our government took over in 2014, the rate of laying down of the national highway was 12 kilometers per day. Today it has increased by 2.3 times to 28 kilometers per day. That is the pace of development we are looking at. And the public welfare to empowerment and effective delivery. Empowerment to welfare has been the phrase of our government. Prioritizing universal access to basic amenities in the participatory mission mode approach and actualizing this philosophy. Our government used technology as a vehicle for social empowerment. Our government has innovated the delivery infrastructure besides widening the social security net. The emphasis on entrepreneurship through Startup India, Stand Up India, large-scale provision of accessible credit, through Mudra Yojana, unskilling HGs and loans to street vendors, through the PM Swadnidhi, reflects our government's focus on empowering job creators from all sections of society. Another thoughtful policy, given the country's demography and occupation profile, is the accessibility of affordable social security scheme for the unorganized sector. Reform tax ecosystem of robust revenue growth has resulted in an increase in revenue collection. Far-reaching tax reforms of the past decade has put in place effective systems that have improved revenue collection and compliances. Looking back, or coming nearer home, the northeastern India. Just recently, Prime Minister Modi has laid down 56,000 crores just for the northeast. And Bihar is one of the states which will be benefited from that. They have also laid down 10,000 crores just for the industrial development of the northeast. And the central government has come up with a policy, knowing fully well that many of the northeastern states and across the nation too is facing this drug problem among the youth. The Prime Minister has brought out a program called the Nasha Mukht Bharat Abhiyan, which will fight the drug menace. As our government, our political and policy stability take tough decisions for the greater economic good of the country as a whole. Restoring dynamism in economy, optimism in our minds and pride in achievements was a task that was left for us to achieve. We accepted the challenge of recognizing the public life is about building hearts, minds and heads of the people, instilling in their confidence about the future and that of the children to win them. Yet, we are not resting on our laurels. There are miles to go and mountains to scale before we see how much India has achieved, because by 2047, we want India to be, not to be a developing country, but to be a developed country. A last question I want to ask you, why should you vote for the BJP? This is an extraordinary election where everyone knows who will be leading the party in 2024, even before the first ballot paper has been cast. I can ask anyone on the streets, everyone knows that BJP is coming back to power. They always say, you can fool a person once, but you cannot fool a person twice. Can 80 crore people, electorate of this great nation of ours, be fooled 3 times? I doubt it, and I'm very sure no. Why? Because each of these 80 crore people will be bringing back the BJP power. They know and they have seen what this party has done for the nation. And I hope that you all should be a part of that government. Would you like your member of parliament that you voted? Would you like him to be in the treasury bench or the opposition? I leave it to you. And if you ask me, if I was a layperson, I would definitely say, I want my MP that I voted, I want him to be in the treasury bench. And we as the state leaders here will ensure that this MP that you vote from the BJP, that he delivers. We will ensure that for you. And remember, BJP, in the last, when you brought the name and tickets for more than 100 candidates, sitting MPs were not given the ticket again. Why? Because of non-performance. That is the beauty of this party. You and me, being a daughter or being a son of a neta, a senior neta, will not help you. Being a sitting MP will not guarantee you for a ticket. Your performance will ensure you that you get a ticket. So we will ensure that an MP that you have voted, that he performs so that he can come again the next term as your MP. And I remember, I will just read through this quotation. We should measure the prosperity of a nation not by the number of millionaires that we have, but by the absence of poverty, the prevalence of health, the efficiency of the public schools, and the number of people who can do and read worthwhile books. And this is what the BJP will deliver to you. If you consider that the BJP is the best party for you. I've seen the other panelists talking about secular. Probably we will have to debate a different session probably on secular, because I have a lot of grounds to defend that BJP is very much a secular party. Thank you very much, and wish that you also become a part of this governance, which will be coming in 2024, which will be led by the BJP. Thank you very much.
I have the website, which probably I have already mentioned, which is www.lakonkumar.com. I will upload in detail my mission. 13 points are there. That includes education, health, employment, CUET centers, and all. 2-3 points that I will stress. First, when we say education, it is to be focused on primary and the middle school education, where government sector schools has to be strengthened. The other aspect is, what do we do with those who are poor? Say, for example, taxi driver, the street vendors, or those who are daily laborers. If anything happens to them, what will happen to their family? I have an idea that if anything happens to the breadwinner of the family, they will be taken care of. There will be an education fund which will be created with the philanthropic contribution and also whatever an MP can, if you elect me, there will be an education fund to support poor school children if their parents cannot sustain. That will be one mission. The other very important part is we will have to have a policy where housing has to be provided for all poor, particularly in rural as well as urban. How it will be done, that is important, because we do see that every time landlessness is too much, particularly among the tribal population. I think we have to address this issue very, very strictly. The last, or rather second last I would say, is that we have to have a platform. Now, yes, we will have agendas 13, 14, 15, some overlapping with different candidates, different parties. But one which I have kept and is one which is called Beyond Religion, a platform for real societal issues. Because in our individual church and mandirs and masjids and wherever we go and do our prayers in churches and so on, we all discuss different issues. There is never a platform where all religious leaders can come and discuss societal issues. Forget about the religious issue for that moment. This is going to be my idea for, if you elect me, there will be a platform which will be called as Beyond Religion, where religious leaders will discuss issues that concerns every aspect of our survival. That includes from unemployment to education to failure of the healthcare system to drug menace, alcohol menace, and so on and so forth, whatever that can be encompassed, so that we listen so much others' views. So that is what I would put as my take, in addition to whatever I have said in my YouTube channel and also in my website. Hopefully people will buy what I'm trying to sell, because this is something that I have thought over a long period of time, and I hope people will see it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Some of what I had said earlier, and probably a few more things that has come out. It's just that from a perspective of the Congress, the points that we had discussed earlier, the 5 points, what is critical is, as Khlem had also mentioned, that the economy is growing very well. My submission is that yes, the economy is growing very well. There's no denying about that. 6% growth is a good growth. But you know, 6% growth in an economy which is 3 trillion and a 2% growth in the economy which is 25 trillion, and absolute numbers, you know the difference. And number 2 is that we're saying that the economic growth is not trickling down to the minorities level. It's not trickling down to the bottom of the pyramid. And that is more critical as to what from the perspective of what I see. And that's probably why, from the Congress perspective also, we're looking at the fundamentals. We're looking at things which is probably like, NREGA. Currently, people are getting, especially the rural belt, is getting employment for 100 days at 100 rupees per day. We're saying that at least we should increase that to around 400, and that is again one of the promises we're talking about, at least rural employment. So we try to reach out to the basics. We try to reach out to the bottom of the pyramid, and I believe that the Congress has always been like that. It's about social welfare, and we have an economy to back that up. The revenue is there in the country, and I believe so that more or less time has come in which the economic benefits should trickle down to the basic. Thank you.
The strength of this nation lies in its diversity. And this is something that, as a party, the voice of the People Party, and I believe each and every citizen of this country would stand with this. Our strength is the unity in spite of this diversity. This must never be allowed to be disturbed. It must remain, and rather we should respect each other, no matter what. The other point is that, yes, we've been having many policies, many programs, many schemes, but if these great schemes, these great policies, if at the time of its implementation is not guided, is not driven by the principle, of moral and ethics, then I'm afraid to say that nothing good will come out. As I say, a bad policy, if implemented well, guided by moral and ethics, sound ethics, is much better than the rest of policy, but not at the time of implementation if it is done so without any care for moral and ethics. Thank you so much.
I would like to appeal to the people of Shillong parliamentary seat to go and vote. If you don't vote, you will have a right to complain. Please vote reasonably. Please vote based on issue and manifesto that we as party and candidate will afford you. Secondly, I would like to appeal, when you go to vote, don't cast your vote based on religion affiliation. Don't cast your votes based on from which area or from which village you are in. What's important is that we vote resolutely, and whoever is your MP in the next 5 years, he must hear you, he must raise your voice. Your voice must be heard in the parliament. That is the most important thing that we can do. Last but not the least, RDA will promote you protection, preservation, and promotion. And with this field work, we hope that you will support us. Thank you so much.
The earlier speakers regarding that the benefits do not reach the level that is to the last mile. Let me clarify here that the BJP government has brought up, whether any of you know about the JAM Trinity, that's the Janghan, Aadhaar, and the mobile. These three, they connect directly to the beneficiary. And just an example, the LPG subsidy, through this system, we have been able to reduce 24% leakages. And in the last couple of years, 34 lakh crores has been distributed to 1,167 crore beneficiaries. So this is the kind of government that we are looking at. It's a direct transfer to the beneficiary. You do not have to go to a BDO, you do not have to go to any government official. And the second thing is that the earlier speakers have been talking a lot about being secular. Let me remind you that recently Maulana Wanmih, an Islam scholar who studied about the Muslim religion, he was awarded the Padma Vibhushan. Now do you doubt? Now the BJP government was not secular, would he have been awarded? Ali Makta Khan, Said Mauzami Ali and Mustafa Hussain, why? They got the Padma Bhushan. Are we not secular? Are we looking at religion? Muhammad Shami got the Arjuna Award for cricket. And none of these schemes of the BJP have they mentioned the religion. None of the schemes have they said, please indicate your religion. The only thing they said, you will be identified whether you are a BPL family or not, or whether you are entitled to this benefit or not. And we, as the workers of the BJP, we are being asked to go into the field to meet the people. And they have never said, you meet the BJP supporters, you go to this village or here, like here in Meghalaya, we have only Punthorntra and Laban. You go to Punthorntra and Laban. No. You have to go to the last village in the border areas, meet the people there, irrespective of whether they voted for the BJP or not, but they are entitled to the scheme, ensure that they get the scheme. That is what our government does. And here we are talking about secularism. We are talking that the party is it's bipartisan. So I think so. These are all fallacies. These are all, from the opposition side. When you look at what the earlier speakers have said, none of them have doubt about the development of the country as a whole. At least I'm happy that at least you give the credit to who it is due to. At least they have all agreed on one thing, that development, we have seen how development and how India has progressed. Thank you very much.